Hey BookTube, it's Charlie from Reader Turned Writer, and today I wanted to share some of my recommendations for my absolute favorite character arcs. Last week I shared the most important beats for a character arc, and I will link that video down below if you want to go check it out. This week I thought I would share some recommendations for books that have some of the best character arcs that I've read. And I will be sharing today my recommendations on a bullet page in my bullet journal. Here we are at my bullet journal, and I'm going to do a little bit of page setup quickly here. This is my ruler. Alright, so this is the page that I will be filling out, and I will just go through kind of in random colors and share some of my favorite character arcs from some of my favorite books. The very first character arc that came to mind was a Brandon Sanderson book, which should come as no surprise because I absolutely love the way that Brandon Sanderson does character arcs. The first one I thought of was Kaladin from The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Kaladin's character arc is one of the best deliveries I have ever read. It's a little bit harder to get through the beginning sometimes for me because Kaladin can be really annoying at the beginning, but the delivery at the end is amazing. It's like everything in his story leads up to this amazing choice that he makes, even if the rest of it was only mediocre, which I think all of Way of Kings is really well done. But even if it wasn't, the ending makes the book well worth the read. It was actually really hard not to put most of Brandon Sanderson's books on here, but I only chose one more, and that is The First Mistborn. The character arc that I pulled out of this was Vin's, because Vin's is very obvious, and so as someone going in reading it from a writer's perspective, trying to analyze her character arc and how well he was able to put her character arc in, it was very useful to me to be able to say, okay, here's her universal theme, which is trust, and here's where his Act 1 reinforced the lie, and here's where she's debating with herself, going back and forth on whether or not she should trust them or not, and can people really live like that? And here's where the voice in her head is saying, Vin, everyone will betray you eventually. Part of the reason I like it is because it's so obvious, because I think sometimes the obvious ones are the best ones. The next book I picked is a middle grade historical fiction, The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Bradley. In this book, we follow Ada, who was born with a deformed foot, and her mother basically is abusive to her. And she, along with her brother, are sent away during World War II, the way that many children in England were sent to the countryside. And it follows her growth as a person, where she has to believe that she has self-worth. My favorite part of this character arc was actually the middle, because I felt like the author did a really good job of showing how hard it was for her to change, and I really felt that as a reader. So the next book I picked is more of a classic. And I actually picked this book as an example of a flat character arc. Most of the character arcs that I love are positive character arcs, but I do sometimes enjoy flat character arcs. One of the main characters that we follow is Tom. We follow him through all sorts of... So the next book I picked is more of a classic. And I actually picked this book as an example of a flat character arc. One of the main characters that we follow is Tom, and we follow him through all sorts of trials, and he is so solid in his belief of God and in his optimism. In flat character arcs, they believe the right thing all throughout, and it's the world around them that is wrong. And then near the end of the book, they usually have a point where they have this moment where you're like, oh no, they actually aren't believing anymore. And then they have their dark night of the soul, and then they come back up and they believe in the truth again, and they're strong in their character arc, and it's the world that changes around them. That sequence of Tom being so strong throughout, and then having a moment where he falters, and then he comes back strong, and then the world around him is changed, is so powerfully done. I bawled because of Tom and the way that Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote Tom's storyline. Uncle Tom's Cabin is my favorite classic now. My next book is a contemporary, which is quite a jump from Uncle Tom's Cabin. It is Love, Life, and the List by Casey West. I actually really enjoy Casey West's books, and the ones that I've read so far, she does a really great job with the character arcs. In this book, we're following a girl named Abby, and while she does have romantic interests throughout the book because it is a romantic contemporary YA book, the main focus is actually on Abby's growth as a person and her trying to figure herself out and as an artist and as a teenage girl. But my favorite part was watching her struggle to grow. I felt that the struggle was really well done in this book. The next book I picked is a YA fairy tale retelling. I love fairy tale retellings. One of my favorite though is Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. In Goose Girl, we follow a princess. Her name's ridiculously long, but throughout the book we call her Annie. She basically gets betrayed by a handmaiden and ends up taking care of geese. And in the beginning of the story, she is really down on herself. She sees herself in a very negative light. And by the end of the book, she has gained confidence. For me, that stark contrast is something that I remember reading as a teenager. The contrast between how she sees herself at the beginning and how she sees herself at the end, it's almost like you're reading from a different person's perspective. It is amazing how well she does that, but it feels totally natural, and that was my favorite part of her character arc. I had to put a book by Gail Carson Levine in here as well, and for this one I picked Fairest, which is a Snow White retelling. I almost picked Ella Enchanted because I do really like Ella Enchanted's resolution, the way that she overcomes her flaw. But I felt like Fairest was a stronger character arc in that when I'm reading Fairest, I really feel the main character's flaw. She sees herself as ugly and she thinks that she needs to change herself in order to be beautiful. And she does grow and learn. I feel that as well. I just feel so deeply the actual flaw in the beginning of the book. It was wonderful to read a book as a teenager about a girl who wasn't attractive or even normal looking but had some serious flaws and was very self-conscious about them, and then learned to accept herself for who she is by the end of the book. The last book that I picked is a middle grade kind of a mystery type book, and it is Book Scavenger by Jennifer Bertman. In this book, we follow a main character named Emily, who is really into this online game called Book Scavenger, where you go online on the website and you put a clue to where you've hidden a book in real life, and then people can go to that place once they figure out the clue and have that book, and then they get points for finding it. It's a really cool concept to me, but Emily's character arc in this is really cool to me because it centers around her family and friendship, which I think are perfect themes for middle grade. I really felt that the mystery aspect of what she was doing really supported her character arc. I love when books are really unified in that way. Those are some of my favorite character arcs in some of my favorite books, and these are great reads to pick up if you are a reader who enjoys awesome character arcs that really deliver at the end and have awesome growth throughout the middle of the book. They are also fantastic books to read if you are an inspiring author who is trying to learn how to do character arcs well. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and what some of your favorite character arcs are. I would love to check them out or discuss some of these books with you in the comments. Thank you for watching my video. I will see you in the next one.